there's the 5-second board. I can see that out of the commentary box window now. So the race about to get underway. Lights go on, lights go out. The race gets underway. It's a good start from Paul Cook and from Rick Perry from the second row of the grid. Not so much by Niall Bradley, and certainly not from Brad Sheehan as well. He's dropped down to about 5th or 6th position as they head up to Rich's corner for the first time. And they all stream through Rich's up towards the hairpin, which is where they are now, and it's Rick Kerry that is leading. Then in second place it's Bradley, it's Paul Cook in third. Brad Sheehan has got back to 4th position, but they're all streaming around the hairpin. Can they all make it through without contact? It looks like they're going to make it, Josh.
Yes, that all went well despite some drivers not making as good starts as perhaps they would have hoped for from towards the front. There's 28 Brad Sheehan then trying to recover after that slower start. They stream their way out of Palmer, down towards the Agostini hairpin for the first time. A bit further back we're seeing here Brian Bransom and Jad Sapra just ahead of Mike Eustace, and then you get some of the other class cars. Ben Pearson's I think down to something like 3rd place in class 6, so he didn't make such a good start there. It looked like Stephen Schleichardt's compact went to the front there, so he gained a couple of places, but we're all through the Agostini hairpin now, down through Hamilton. And we see there, or a car off, that's Mark Havers, isn't it, in the other one series that's run by Rick Kerry. So Mark Havers, who was racing here last month at Snetterton in a different car, hasn't had such a good start to this one here, dropped to the back, but hopefully he'll be able to get back going.
So they're on to the Bentley Straight for the first time, or the leaders are. The rest of them are still streaming through. The right-hander at Williams that brings them back onto the Bentley Straight, and then they'll head up towards the left-hander at Brundle and Nelson. Who was that getting out of shape? I think it was William Lake, number 4, in one of the Cup class cars. He's going to lose a position there to Cavan Granger, number 37, as a result of that.
See that car still road registered.
Leaders are already heading down towards the bomb hole. That's the view of the cars heading up the Bentley Straight and through Brundle and Nelson, the left and right flick. The leaders, though, already towards the end of the lap, and is still Rick Kerry, I think, just about holding on to the lead of the race, but not by very much. It's Niall Bradley, then, the pole position driver, that's putting him under a bit of pressure, and a spin there for number 83. That's Gary Burstow, one of the M2 class winners. Not too many of the M2 class cars here this weekend, but he's had a little bit of a moment.
And going for the lead here, Niall Bradley on the exit of Richie's, looks up the inside of Rick Kerry. Brad Sheehan's there now as well after he's got past Paul Cook, but for the lead, Niall Bradley takes it away from Rick Kerry and up over the curbs there. Brad Sheehan, I don't think I've seen something use so much curb at Wilson. Didn't really work for him, I don't think, because Rick Kerry's still in front, but he's not giving up on this yet as he looks up the inside into Palmer. He can't go through though, so he sees his championship rival now, Niall Bradley, leading the race and starting to get away as they go down towards Agostini. For the second lap, looked like the time of this race started a bit early, so we might not get 10 laps in. After one lap, we've had 4 minutes, haven't we, by the looks of it? So a slightly slower green flag lap there meant the time started slightly early, so the drivers will have to readjust themselves, perhaps by a lap or so, but that's not going to really make too much difference, I doubt. Here's about over a second, and Brad Sheehan's now challenging down towards Oggies. He's on the inside of Rick Kerry, and the former touring car racer there loses a place. He's down to 3rd. He might lose another one because Paul Cook's right there too. Yeah,
Paul Cook there in 4th position at the moment, so Rick Kerry has gone from 1st down to 3rd position at the moment in the 1 series. So the 2 championship runners, Niall Bradley and Brad Sheehan, have both got through, and it's Bradley who's ahead of Sheehan in the points coming into this weekend. And look at that, further back, a challenge on, that's the 126 car of Brian Bransom up the inside of Paul Cook for 4th position. He can't make it through. Bransom in the orange car there, Paul Cook in the black car. And as they head down towards the bomb hole, these first 5 have made a bit of a break from the rest of them, Josh.
Yeah, in particular, Niall Bradley's got a good lead now from Brad Sheehan. So despite that quick start and holding the lap record coming here to Snetterton, Rick Kerry doesn't seem to have the pace, and Brian Branson's going right round the outside of that corner, which is a bold move. And now he's looking up the inside of Rick Kerry. There was the slightest of touches there, and he might lose the place to Paul Cook he just gained. It kind of tends to be that way in St Murray's. You're so brave on the outside line through Coram, and it doesn't ever work out. So Brian Branson drops down to 5th again. But the top 2, that means they're even further ahead now. Niall Bradley leads by nearly 2 seconds from Brad Sheehan, and then there's a second or so back to Rick Kerry. But that was quite exciting at the end of lap 2.
Yeah, well, Branson in the invitation class, he's not scoring points. So I guess from his point of view, he's just out there to have a good race and not worry too much about it. But equally, all the drivers won't want their races to be disrupted by a driver that's not part of the championship, as it were. But Niall Bradley out in front, 1.73 seconds clear at the end of lap 2. So he pulled away from Brad Sheehan quite nicely. There's a second and a quarter between Sheehan and Kerry in second and third. Then Cook, Branson, Safra, David Kempton 7th in the Smart Fi, number 11 car. Mike Eustace 8th, Davidson 9th, and the 78 car rounding out the top 10 is Ronan Bradley, another of the invitation class drivers. And as far as Class 6 is concerned, it is Paul Travers from Ben Pearson at the moment. They're 11th and 12th overall.
I think if it stays this way, Niall Bradley will wrap up the M1 Championship in this race, but there's still some 13 or so minutes to go. Some of the six-cylinder cars here turning their way down towards Agostini. That's headed by Paul Travers now in the compact by about a second from Ben Pearson, and then they're just up the road. This is about a third, and Dan Harborough's E30 there was trying to go past Stephen Schleitkart's compact, but it didn't quite work out for him. Just behind them, who you got there? You had Bill Reddrop, didn't you? Clive Watson, Stuart Highwell as well, all Class 6 cars battling amongst each other. And here are the leaders in that class, with Paul Travers leading the way, trying to take his first class victory of the season. But he's over the curbs and sideways, and that's going to allow Ben Pearson to challenge down the Bentley Straight. He's on the inside line for the first part of the Essex, and he's already passed with using that extra momentum after Travers lost it all, going out wide, sideways over the curbs.
That's not how you get your first win of the season, is it? Ben Pearson was there to capitalise on that mistake from Paul Travers, and he goes through into the position that he's assumed on 8 occasions at the end of races so far this season. 8 class wins he's had in Class 6 so far this year. Meanwhile, I can tell you that Brian Branson's just got past Paul Cook and up into 4th position on his way into Rich's corner. But this battle for position 11th overall, and the Class 6 leader is Ben Pearson, then, who's done so well this season. Has been really consistent in that number 25 car, Rutec prepared car, and just ahead of the compact, number 77 Paul Travers, the E46 compact, second within that class at the moment. And Stephen Schweikart is still third. There he is, just going over across the line now with Dan Harborough in the beautiful E30, tucked in behind him in 4th spot. That's at the end of lap 3.
The leading gap is coming down because Brad Sheehan is herring after Niall Bradley with the fastest lap of the race, a 2 minutes 4.1. So the lead gap's come down to 1.3 seconds. Looks like in the background of your shot there's a car that's spun on the exit of Murray to get back on. It's very busy here in the mid-pack across the line, isn't it? Including Mark Havers recovering after that moment he had on lap 1. So he's progressing through the field there in 63, but just up the road is 60. That's the Cup Class leader, which is Cole McMillan. And Cole McMillan, I think, is doing enough here to take the Cup Class Championship for the season. The car that spun, I think, was number 48, Mike Nash, one of the invitation class cars in his E46 330. Okay, so turning their way through the hairpin there. So at the front of this group is the Cup Class leader. None of the other cars in this group are in his class. So Cole McMillan doing a great job running just outside the top 20 overall. He's on the inside line there, trying to come around the outside. He's on the 6-cylinder cars, which is Kevin Granger's 330. But down the straight, the power of the M1 car, the V8 car of Mark Havers, passes them all on his recovery drive. So Clive Watson just want to keep out of trouble in this big battle of cars which have a bit more power than he does. So he's dropped a couple of positions at the beginning of the lap, but he still leads the class importantly. These cars about halfway round the lap as the overall leaders complete another lap. So they are going to be caught, I'd imagine, before the end of the race to be lapped. I would think so. Clive Watson, last year's Cup Class champion. Ooh, and he's been hit around. There has been contact. That was from the 19 car, I think, Rob Lyons in his 330 Ci. There is some damage you can see on the rear quarter of that car. So that's unfortunate for Clive Watson, as a champion of last year. 2 years ago, it was a Cup Class car, Matt Page, that took the overall championship as well. So he's got back going. That's Mike Nash, isn't it? Just behind him, he's spun. So I think he's lost the Cup Class lead to Paul Laramie in all of that. So I said he needed to keep out of trouble with those cars around him. It didn't quite work out for him there into Oggies. Meanwhile, Brian Branson trying to get third from Rick Kerry didn't go too well because he's behind Paul Cook, as you can see here. Trying to fight back again is Brian Branson. So he's had a lively race by the looks of things. So he's back down to 5th place. They turn their way through the Agostini hairpin. They're some way behind the leaders now. 6 seconds, Bradley and Sheehan are ahead of Rick Kerry, and Brian Branson on the inside line there into Hamilton. It didn't work out for him trying to get past Paul Cook, who uses all the curb on the exit of the corner.
Just looking at the lap times, we've not yet got underneath the lap record, have we? Which is a 2:04.02. Had a 2:04.13 for Brad Sheehan. So only just about a tenth of a second. Oh, and there's a problem for Branson. The wheel has come off. The right front wheel of that car has come away from the car, it would seem. You can't see it, of course, from that angle, but we just saw the shot as he was turning through Williams onto the Bentley straight. So I don't know if we'll be able to get the car moved into a safer position than that, but that's not ideal where that is on the exit of Williams as the cars come onto the Bentley straight.
No, that's not. So that's a bit of a strange thing to happen, isn't it? Sort of halfway through the race. So a real shame there for Brian Branson, who was in fourth. He dropped to fifth. Perhaps he dropped to fifth because that problem has started to develop, maybe. So he looks to be a retirement, which will promote Jad Sackborough and David Kempton into the top six. There's Brad Sheehan, who's in second. And they're into lap traffic. It's his lead gap coming down. It went back out to 1.6 seconds after 4 laps. After 5 laps, the gap is 1 second. So indeed, in a bit of traffic there, the gap from Bradley to Sheehan is coming back down again. That's sort of the least it's been since they were stuck behind Rick Kerry earlier on in the race. But there is this question mark, of course, with what is happening up at Williams Corner, where Brian Branson's car is stationary, so we'll see what race control decide to do with 7 or so minutes of this race left. But here come the leaders into Palmer, another car they slot up the inside of, and now Bradley continues on his way, trying to claim this M1 Championship title a race early, with Brad Sheehan still chasing after him. The gap is coming down here, Ian.
It certainly is. So are we going to have a Grand Slam finish this race? There's 6 and 3/4 minutes of it left to go. Bradley and Sheehan, 11 race wins between them out of 12 so far during the course of this season. They've split them just about as evenly as they can do, 6-5. Each has had little dramas as the season has gone on and had races where they've had to fight through from the back, and it's been quite exciting for them. But they've really taken points off of each other. There you could see them go past that stricken car of Brian Branson, and we've got yellow flags waving on the start and finish line now, and I suspect that is because we're going to get the safety car out onto the circuit. Yeah, safety car just leaving its position underneath our commentary box, so yellow flags all around the circuit. There you can see them waving there. The drivers have spotted them already. Safety car is out, and with only 6 minutes to go, I wonder how much more racing we'll get, Josh.
Very little to none, I suspect. Potentially none. But we'll see what happens, because if that is a wheel that's come off, surely the car's going to have to be lifted. Which
you would have thought.
It's not the quickest process. It's not the quickest process to get anybody to where the car is, I shouldn't think.
No. So it might take a moment or two to sort this out, and it may get to the point where they realise that it's not going to happen before we can get any racing back underway. So yellow flags. Let's have a look at the class system while we've got a moment with the race under caution here. So you can see the sort of pale green, sort of yellowy green cars. Those are the M1 class cars. Those cars that are shaded red on the timing tower, those are the invitation class cars. You can see a blue car there at the bottom end of the top 10. That's Ben Pearson, number 25. He's our Class 6 leader. The sort of bright Ferrari red number 83 in 12th place, Gary Burstow. He's one of the Class 2 cars. And then the Cup class cars are whatever colours left. They're not on our screen at the moment, but they have their own colour. There we go. It's the dark green. For example, number 31, Paul Laramie, in 24th position. So that's a little bit about the colours on the timing tower for those of you watching on the live stream, and greetings to you wherever you're watching in the UK or indeed around the world.
You see there's a few people very much around the world, one person from Bathurst, so welcome along.
I was watching last weekend as well.
Well, glad you like 750 Motor Club Racing, also Buenos Aires on there as well. So not sure of any people who are actually watching from England here, perhaps everyone's from abroad. But welcome along. Hope you're enjoying 750 Motor Club Racing, whether this is your first time or you're a regular, perhaps on the Alpha live streaming or coming to events. It's a busy day, or a busy weekend of racing, which is set to be thrilling, I think, throughout the 2 days. Sprint racing a lot of the way. Particularly this afternoon, there's a whole group of 15-minute races, short, sharp racing, which is set to be very good indeed. I see the safety car here is about to pass the incident scene. I just let him past the cars that are between the safety car and the leader. There's the a recovery vehicle heading off at speed into the direction of Brian Branson's car.
Yeah, well, it's heading away from it, but it's got to head in that way to get back onto the circuit today. But there are only 3.5 minutes to go. Our lap takes 2 minutes here, so I don't think we're going to see an awful lot more racing today in this or in this first part of the BMW Car Club Racing Championship at any rate.
And I think all our class championships are going to be decided here. Niall Bradley in M1, which was yet to be decided, and Cole McMillan in the Cup class, which was yet to be decided. I think that's the case. Yeah, it looks like it.
So that will mean that this afternoon's race is, hopefully just a bit of good, clean fun for everybody.
But I think all the other championships which are to be decided here this weekend at Snetterton is rather less likely to go in the first race.
Yes, we've got the bike sports which will be decided today because both of their races are today. But I think the majority of the other classes are going to go down to tomorrow, aren't they? Very last day of the season. So safety car still out, yellow flag still waving. These are the slower cars that were sort of the back of the, or the front of the safety car train that have been allowed through. But they will now need to try and catch the back of the pack.
The lights out?
Well, I'm not sure that they were ever on.
Oh, no,
on
they
are
on.
on. They're flashing on the rear. It's from the angle that we could see, it doesn't look like they're on. But the drivers behind will see that safety car lights are on. Safety car will stay out.
Checkered flag?
No, it's not. Still with a yellow flag and a last lap board, I think. So last lap board. So they will get one more lap. Almost wonder why we didn't have the checkered flag this time, but never mind. We will continue on for one more lap behind the safety car in this BMW Car Club Racing Championship race. So we'll never get that grandstand finish that we're hoping for between Niall Bradley and Brad Sheehan. So that's a shame because it could have been quite an entertaining last couple of laps, Josh.
Yeah, it was just getting closer, wasn't it, with Sheehan catching him. He knew he needed to beat Bradley here, so there have been quite a bit of incentive to get past, I should think. But nevertheless, it looks like Niall Bradley's going to take his 7th win of the season, which will mean he'll have taken the most victories over the course of the 2021 BMW Car Club Racing Championship year.
Number 6, Sam Walton, heading that sort of secondary group, probably ought to be catching up with the train ahead of him.
So catching up 3 miles isn't a work of a moment, really.
No, exactly, and it's reasonably academic now because we've got 19 minutes and 22 seconds on our timing screen, so we are ticking towards the end of this BMW Car Club Racing Championship race. So a bit unfortunate way to bring it to its conclusion. No added laps at the end of the race, as you get in the British touring cars, where they add laps on at the end. In the event that there's a safety car during the race, up to a maximum of 3 laps, it's just a straight 20-minute race here. So it does mean that we'll complete this race behind the safety car, I'm afraid to say. And hopefully we'll get through the second race for the BMW Car Club Racing Championship towards the end of this afternoon. We'll get through that cleanly without any interruptions.
I think we see some of the competitors here out this afternoon in road sports as well, so a busy day for those. And then again, some of these BMW Car Club Racing competitors will be out in 7 days' time at the Burkitt Relay, which will also be live streamed here on the Alpha Live channel. So if you're not subscribed, hit that button on YouTube and you'll get notifications for that ahead of next week, and of course for tomorrow's day action here.
Yeah, the car's out of the way, but it's all come a little bit too late, hasn't it? Burkitt Relay, I say, don't forget, if you've not seen the Burkitt Relay before and you wonder what it's all about, there's a very good explainer that Alpha Live have put together, and you can see that on the 750 Motor Club social media channels, for example, certainly on their Twitter and Facebook feeds. It was tweeted out yesterday. It's a good sort of 4 or 5 minute explainer about what to expect from the Burkitt 6-hour relay race at Silverstone next Saturday. But Josh and myself and Marcus Pye and Lewis Beals will be with you to bring you the story of that race live from Silverstone. So that's next Saturday. Hopefully if you're in Buenos Aires or in Bathurst, you'll be tuning in to watch that.
Yeah, it'll be a race perhaps, if you haven't seen it before, unlike any other that you've seen before. More people tuning in away from this country. Germany now as well. Hope you're enjoying the action. Hopefully you've got a better understanding of English than we've got of German, so you're able to understand what we're talking about. And yeah, club racing in the UK, it's gone really well, hasn't it, this year, particularly for the 750 Motor Club. I think we've got 300 entries here to round off the standard part of the season. It's been much that way, really, for the last 18 months, Ian.
Yeah, it has. It's obviously a lot of disruption in life generally because of COVID, and certainly last season was very badly disrupted by it. This year, not so much, thankfully. But real appetite for club racing, not just with the 750 Motor Club, but the 750 Motor Club has had a particularly strong couple of seasons in terms of the numbers of cars on the grids. But it's been great to see that in spite of that, everything that's gone on, club racing has still enjoyed good success. We'll see if that continues over the next few years, because I think we're in for some interesting economic times ahead, but which may impact on the ability of people to have the money to go racing. But we'll see how that develops. Absolutely.
Checkered flag is prepared then. Hopefully this is the last time a race will end like this over the weekend. But nevertheless, I'm sure Niall Bradley will be pleased. He managed to get past Rick Kerry early on in that race after not the best of starts.
Yep, checker flag goes out then, and Niall Bradley wins round 13 of the BMW Car Club Racing Championship. In second place is number 28, Brad Sheehan. Third goes to number 2, Rick Kerry. Fourth to number 26, Paul Cutt. Fifth to number 41, Jazz Sapra. Mike Eustace in number 80 rounds out the top 6. Obviously, the gaps are all largely meaningless because the cars completing the race behind the safety car. But Dave Kempton in number 11 is the fastest of the invitation class cars, ahead of the 33 car of Robert Davidson and Ronan Bradley in number 78. Ben Pearson up into the top 10 in the end in car 25, so he wins class 6. So I think we can pretty much say now he definitely is the champion for 2021 in the BMW Car Club Racing Championship.
And mention for him, because he got 7 tenths underneath the previous lap record as well, so he wasn't taking it easy. He was driving flat out to win that race and doing it very quickly. Here are the results, though.
Yeah, Niall Bradley is that takes the win by just under half a second from Brad Sheehan. So it's 47 from 28. Rick Kerry in third, number 2. Paul Cook, 26, is fourth, head of Just Sapra and Mike Eustace. David Kempton in 7th place in car number 11 in the SmartFi entry. Robert Davidson and Ronan Bradley, also invitation class cars, and Ben Pearson, as we say, winning in class 6, car 25. 11th to number 77, Paul Travers. Then Gary Burstow, the best of the M2 class cars, in 12th position overall. In 13th, number 30, Dan Harbrough, another of the 6-cylinder cars. Then Stephen Schweikart, Bill Redrop, Clive Watson and Stuart Pywell. Mark Havers in the number 63 car, he was 18th, head of Justin Middleton and Sean Jackson. Further back, you've got Cavan Granger, Sarangi Sottish-Rahari and Rob Lyons. Paul Laramie, it was in car 31 that took the Cup class from Carl McMillan, number 60. Then Andy Wynn, Warren Skiberes, Mike Nash after his spin, William Lake and Sergei Miniv rounding out the top 30. And did we have any more finishers? The answer is we did. Sam Walton and, of course, Brian Bransom, the retirement and the cause of that safety car period in the end. So that brings to a conclusion the first race of the day for the BMW Car Club Racing Championship. One more race to come before the lunch interval, but before we go into that, hopefully we'll be able to hear from our leading drivers from the BMW Car Club Racing Championship race. You can see the cars there flagged off at the exit of Palmer's, directed into Parc Fermé in most cases.
It looks like we might be getting class winners, maybe.
Which would be very good if we did get them, because it's always good to hear from drivers from the lower classes as well as the overall leading finishers as well. So let's head down for the first time today to hear from our man in Parc Fermé with the winners from the BMW Car Club Racing Championship, Matt Suckling.
Thanks very much, Ian. Yep, down here with our top 3 from that first race. We'll try and get the class winners a little bit later on. But in the meantime, we'll start with our race winner, Niall Bradley. Niall, brilliant stuff there. We now understand that's your 7th win of the year. Great race.
Yeah, thank you very much. Brad's kept me honest all year. Really tough racing with him door to door the whole year. Yeah, bit of a bad start, got going, then got myself into P1, but I seen Brad shortly after it was coming, so it was just a matter of just managing at home just to get the race win. So yeah, well chuffed.
It was a shame that safety car came out towards the end, because there was a good battle starting to emerge there, but probably good in your respect.
Yeah, I was I was game for it, if you know what I mean. I seen him coming, but there was a little bit more, not loads more, but there was a little bit more I made. Would have been nice to take the checkered flag way a full-on battle, but we've still got race 2 to go, so we'll see what happens there.
And this is a little bit different from time attack as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You've got to be with time attack. You can sort of get yourself warmed up and get into it. Where this, you've got to go from the beginning, or these lads here will just punish you. Big time, they punish you. But no, it's really, really good. Really, really enjoyable.
Well, good stuff, Niall. Good luck for race number 2.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
There we go, Brad. Let's bring Brad Sheehan into the mix as well. Brad, well done. Second place there. That gap was coming down before the safety car, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a bit frustrating for me, to be fair, because I got a good jump off the line from third on the grid to go around the outside of everyone and missed the bloody gear, which then put me back in my position. I pushed through in the second pretty quick. And then got my head down and started to get some consistent laps going. Once I get the ball rolling, I knew I was ticking them off. Caught onto the back of Niall, and then the safety car come out. So that was, for me, I was shouting in the car because I just wanted to get going. But it's good racing, you know. We live to fight another day.
Exactly, and there's still race 2 to come as well.
Yeah, definitely. But me and Niall, literally, he's ahead of me just in points, and now I've not really got a chance now, to be fair. But it's all good fun. So I'll just go out and try and win race 2.
Yeah, go for glory, see what happens.
Yeah, good.
Brilliant stuff. Well done, Brad. Thank you very much. And we'll try and bring in Rick Kerry as well to have a quick chat after that first BMW race of the day. Rick, third place there. Bit frustrating with the top 2 pulling away, but another podium.
Yeah, I think got a hell of a start. That was probably the best start I've ever got. And then Cookie was behind me. I tended to struggle with the mechanical grip and the slow corners compared to the E46s. But yeah, to get third, I think probably if the race had gone distance, I think Paul would have got me. He was faster. But yeah, it's nice to get third in the bag and yeah, see if we can do some changes and make it a little bit better for the next race.
Yeah, last one of the year coming up as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it feels like it's been a long season. I think with the 2 or 3 congested at the start, and we had troubles during that start period. I think we've never really caught back up again, but that's been great fun. Great series.
Still a podium. Well done, Rick.
Yeah, thank you very much.
There we go, then our top 3 from the first BMW race with Rick Kerry in third place, Brad Sheehan in second, and your race winner, Niall, there as well. We look forward to race number 2, but on the way next, it's time for the Bike Sports Championship.